Next topic here, topic number 9. We're going to stay in the NBA, and a huge injury happened just a couple of nights ago. Spencer Dinwiddie of the Brooklyn Nets tore his ACL. I think it was originally thought to be a partial tear. There was rumors that he might try to come back at the end of the season. I believe now it's a full ACL tear. He's done for the year. And when you look at the Brooklyn Nets, and they dismantled the Celtics on Christmas Day, Kevin Durant looks like he never had an Achilles injury. I mean, he looks unbelievable. And then Kyrie, when he wants to, can really turn it on. As long as those two guys are healthy, I think they're going to be fine. But that's the thing. We've talked about the condensed schedule. We've talked about the short layoff, and those guys had a longer layoff because they didn't play. Durant was recovering from an injury. Kyrie didn't play in the bubble. So they've had a lot of time to rest. But Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, who's still on the team, obviously, and playing well, those were the guys that on some off nights for Durant and Kyrie were going to kind of carry the load throughout the regular season. You need guys like that in a handful of games every year to kind of win you a few games so that your stars don't have to bury that burden and carry that burden throughout the regular season. So when the playoffs come, those guys are fresh. So now with Dinwiddie out, LeVert's going to have a little more pressure on him, and Durant and Kyrie are going to have a little more pressure on them in a shortened season. So I think that's the biggest thing that if I'm the Brooklyn Nets, I got to worry about with the Spencer Dinwiddie injury is the wear and tear on your two veterans, especially throughout the year.
Yeah, I think that's something new coach Steve Nash is going to have to balance and weigh out throughout the season is when do I rest Kyrie and when do I rest Kevin Durant? Right. I think that Dinwiddie injury was a big one for them because of, the defense that he brings, the offense that he brings, the experience that he brings. Great player. I know Dinwiddie himself said that this is nothing new for him. He tore his ACL in college, and he's looking to really bounce back and come back strong, but it is going to be next season. So the Nets are going to have to really rely on somebody else, and the NBA is a long season, like you said. You go through ups and downs. It's a game of runs. It's a season of runs. So it wouldn't shock me to see the Nets actually go through a low point at one point because they don't really have as much depth on the bench anymore. But I think, like you said, relying on a superstar like Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving, the team shouldn't have to worry too much. I think Steve Nash will have his team hitting on all cylinders. They looked amazing against the Celtics. Like you said, Kyrie was just unstoppable. Kevin Durant really has just looked like he hasn't had much rust on him, to be honest. So I think this is really a strong team going forward, and you got to look out for them going down the stretch. I know last year they were kind of the joke because, both those players weren't playing. But that's when a lot of those guys like Karis LeVert really got to spread their wings and get the experience that is really going to help them this year to be really one of the contenders in the East. And like I said, the Celtics are going to have a great season, and they'll be just like the Nets and the Celtics. And with this whole, I should say, weak start to the season for everybody, you look for these teams to bounce back strong in the second half of the season and really turn it on. But if the Celtics are going to be a strong team and the Nets really dismantled them, like you said, on Christmas Day, that expect this Nets team to really be a powerhouse in the East going forward. And with, those two players, and I just love watching Kevin Durant, and Kyrie has got probably some of the best handles in the NBA. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what those two can do, especially when it comes to the playoffs and playoff basketball.